Hey, what's up YouTube? I'm going to do a review today on the Santa Cruz 5010. This bike is pretty freaking sweet. I have a Bronson. I love my Bronson. I probably would never trade my Bronson for another bike. However, took the 5010 out. It's a C model, not a full CC, but it's a C model S build. Comes with 130 mil travel in the front. And I think it's only like 110 in the rear. Don't quote me on that. It might be like even up to 130, but I think it's only 110. Needless to say, this bike kind of falls in what I would say is more of the climbing category in the all-mountain. However, this bike still descends and is super fun and poppy on the trails. Like, this thing actually pops and bounces around the corners better than my Bronson does, but I wouldn't say that in a full downhill or descending situation that I would pick this over my Bronson. Through berms and tight little corners and, just popping off anything, this bike almost feels more responsive because of, less travel. But when you're taking big hits or you're doing drops or things like that, you're going to want more travel. Like, that's kind of where this bike's downfall is. The head angle is just a little bit less slack than the Bronson, so I'd say it's geared a little bit more towards like the cross-country side of things, but it's not like a high tower or anything like that. It's definitely not a cross-country bike. It's still an all-mountain bike. It climbs really well. I think that on any of the trails I took this on, I beat all my personal records that I have on my Bronson climbing with the 5010, but like I said, once you turn it into descend mode, I pick the Bronson, hands down. The 5010 does come with full Fox suspension, comes with the Fox float in the rear and the 34 factory up front. Since this is the S build, they're kind of the lower end suspension components as well, so I think if you go up into like the X01 build, you're going to get a little bit nicer suspension and a nicer frame, which is going to be the CC frame. I talked about that in my Bronson review, the differences between C and CC. CCs are just a little bit lighter, they use less carbon, it's higher quality. The C frames use more carbon, it's not as quality, and they overlap to make it stronger. Comes with 1x11, goes up to 46 teeth in the rear. And like I said, it still climbs super well. There's going to be some situations where you're going to wish you had Eagle if you get this build, but like I said, this thing climbs super well, and it's just an all-around poppy fun bike. If you're looking for a bike that is just going to do everything from top to bottom pretty much equally, I would probably go with the 5010. If you're one of those guys that kind of don't super appreciate the pedal up, and once you get to the top you really like descending and you like hitting bigger jumps and doing technical descents where there's a lot of rocky terrain and drops and things like that, I'd get a bike that probably has a little bit more travel. But with the 5010 being in the class that it's in, I think that they've done a super good job, and I'm a big fan. Like I said, this is the S build, comes in at like $4,600 retail, and this is the gloss red with mint color. Comes with the RockShox reverb dropper post, which, especially with this trigger assembly, I'm not really a fan of. I would take any dropper post, I think, over that dropper post, but it's my personal opinion. You might be different. So the S build on the 5010 comes with an aluminum bar. I prefer a carbon bar. It's very nice to have with the transfer of vibration and shock going through the front end into your hands. I think a carbon bar is one of those things. It's a really sweet upgrade. So that's one of the other reasons I would go with the CC model or the X01 build. Ardent Race rear tire. It's a really fast rolling tire, not like the Minion that comes on the rear of the Bronson. This one comes with the Ardent Race, but then up front it has the Minion DEHF front tire, and that's the same one that comes on the Bronson. all in all, I really like it. I think the faster rolling rear tire kind of helps this thing move through the corners and feel a little bit more playful. Doesn't have as much drag to it. It comes with SRAM guide brakes, which I really dig. You can actually mediate the brakes on them. They're not like Shimano's where they're like completely off or on. They do take a little bit more effort to come to a complete stop or to lock up the tires, but I prefer to have a good feel to my brakes where you can put on partial brakes and not have to just be locking them up or all or nothing. Some people prefer to be all or nothing, and to each his own. This is just kind of my personal preference. This bike also has the ESI extra chunky grips. These are awesome. You can ride these without gloves. They're super nice. They do a lot of shock absorbing. Even when they're wet, they're grippy. They're a lot bigger diameter than your handlebar, which kind of makes for less effort to hold on to the bars. They don't hurt your knuckles if you've been squeezing onto the bars for a really long time on like really long descents. That's one of the things that I noticed that's super beneficial about them is less stress on the hands, and they're a lot more comfortable. All in all, I think Santa Cruz did an excellent job with this bike. It isn't one of those bikes that kind of falls into a half category, I would say. I mean, it is kind of between cross country and the more climbing side of all mountain, but this bike compared to the Bronson, they're both good at different things, and it's kind of like depending on what day or what type of day it is kind of what bike you would pick, or even like what trail you're going to ride is kind of what bike you would pick. So you'd be happy if you went with either one of them. I think if I didn't have a Bronson or hadn't ridden a Bronson, I would be in love with the 5010. Like, that's how good it is. If you decide to go with the 5010, I think you're going to be super satisfied. Santa Cruz just really doesn't disappoint with their bikes. So, all right, well, thanks for watching my review of the Santa Cruz 5010. If you're curious about one, try and get down to a local retailer, maybe demo one. If you pick one up, like I said, I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you liked my review, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. I do a lot of rides on my Bronson. If you like those, subscribe. You get weekly videos. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.